here. It's been a long time since I've posted a video, so I thought I'd do a quick update. It's been kind of just a whole whirlwind of things going on with me lately, and so I really haven't had a moment's time to really ponder and reflect all the awesome goodness that's been happening. First off, I'll start with since March 20th. It's been 1 year that I've been on testosterone, so I just really didn't have much of a chance to stop and kind of take it all in, which is unfortunate, or even really had any moments notice or moments to celebrate or whatnot, but or put any sort of special video together. So, and there's plenty of them on YouTube, so I'll just leave it at that. But um, the one thing that just keeps coming up for me with being 1 year on T is the fact that more and more I hear myself, I see myself, I feel myself, like all these things, on so many sensory levels, I am more me. And it's really crazy to the point where I often find myself looking in the mirror quite a bit. At first, I thought I was being very vain, but it was more just like, holy shit, that's me, you know? Um, and what an exhilarating feeling that is to have that sort of self recognition. Because I really spun my wheels on that for years and years without any sort of label or understanding of what was going on for me. And it's only now that or in recent times that I've been able to piece it together. So, and it was really cool. I was talking to a friend who is like, I totally get it. And I was like, oh, because he's cis. And so I was like, oh, how could you understand this? And he explained further, and he's adopted. And so he grew up with a adopted family. And then at some point, much later in his life, he met his mom, his biological mom, for the first time. And he said that experience of seeing something biologically so akin to him was like the most profound thing, because he could finally see himself, and everything clicked, and all he could do was kind of stare at his mom. And it's not like everything was hunky dory, but it's just like that need to see oneself in the world, if that makes sense. And so I always thought that was a really touching, uh, um, similar, analogous type of experience, but from different, you know, realities. So one a trans story, and then another adopted story, and how they could have that common thread. I thought that was really cool. So um, another thing I've been spending a lot of time, volunteer time, is working. I think I mentioned it in previous videos, in the Trans and Gender Variant Working Group, and we finally put together, after 10 months of lots of consultation and engagement with the trans and gender variant community and other folks, we were able to put together 72 recommendations for changing things around change rooms, washrooms, staff training, programming, and community partners within the Vancouver Park Board. And so it was this big undertaking, and we have this awesome report, of which many people contributed, the 8 members of this working group, in particular masterminded by this fantastic person. And so we put these recommendations. I'll put a link below so you can kind of take a look. The first 3 pages, you just scroll past them. It's a bit of an overview by the Vancouver Park Board. But essentially, we put those together, and then this other person, Meta, and I co-presented on them to the Vancouver commissioners about a week and a half ago now. And it was one of the most profound nights of my life, in the sense that, it was kind of a historical moment, and we could all sense it in the room. We were presenting to the commissioners, who were going to then take a vote on the recommendations, whether or not to pass them, so we could implement them. And I shared part of my story, and some of the things that I struggle with even today, around change rooms and washrooms, and things that I've encountered and seen and experienced. And then about 20 or so people from the community shared their own experiences. And so this is this beautiful tapestry of both struggle, but resilience and strength, I would say, and also expressing the need for these types of recommendations. And in the end, it passed unanimously, and that's across different party lines too. Our park board is set up a little bit differently than other cities, so it's really cool, kind of comprehensive model that hopefully are actually already other cities have expressed interest in, and are starting to look at themes, and corporations are starting to change, and other organizations are taking a look and adopting some of the things that we're talking about in these recommendations. So that was crowning moment. I was really, really proud of it. And then we had a whole series of media pieces, and so I got to start to figure out how to talk about you know who I am and what my experience is, and you know also provide a platform for speaking about other experiences as well, including gender variant or non-binary experiences. So it's really cool because you can kind of change the hearts and minds of the public. I totally recognize that Vancouver is probably one of the better cities to do that in, but it's really cool that I can be a part of that effort. And then lastly, I also, in the whole time I was doing that work, and also just my regular work, starting new projects in Alberta and Ontario and northern BC, I was training for a marathon, which, holy smokes, do I ever pick them, hey? Which, so huge time investment. Training goes, basically you train all the way up until about 10K shy of a full marathon, so you don't do the full distance ever during training, but at some point you're running 2-3 hours and every week, and you can imagine that has a huge cost on the system. But yeah, so I ran the marathon this Sunday. So and if you're friends with me on Facebook, you can see all the different pictures I've got posted. And essentially, I ran a really strong race. I really surprised myself. I didn't think I could ever achieve that. I did it 3 hours in 3 hours and 15 minutes, and I the and I think that's really important for folks, especially F to M, on that side of things. Oftentimes, I feel to a certain degree that we're overlooked or not taken very seriously within competition, and I wanted to prove it to myself and then also to others that that we're a force to be reckoned with, right? That I've always competed at a pretty high level, even back when I was in female categories, and it's nice to see that I can also achieve high levels in the male category. So I was really pleased at that time. It's not a Boston qualifying time, surprisingly enough, but another 10 minutes and I could get there. But I did really well within the Vancouver Frontrunners that I'm a part of as well, and so it's kind of cool to get that recognition from other guys. That I've kind of always felt within myself, but now that others see it as well is like pretty cool, and there's a lot more like competition or transition within competition that I could talk about more, but I just like that's kind of at first brush what's going on for me. But that was a really neat experience. Although as soon as I crossed the finish line, I collapsed and I was so done. I couldn't talk. I had slurred speech. I had blurry vision. I was stumbling, and it was pretty intense. So I guess I kind of left everything out on the running course. But yeah, it was cool. Anywho, there's many, many more things. I haven't even spoken to some of the dating things that I've also been doing, but that'll probably be for another video. But I just wanted to get this up so that, that everybody kind of knows, and I really enjoy watching everybody else's videos and seeing where things are going in your journey. So anyways, I hope you're all well, and we'll talk soon.